Welcome to the Boomer's Guide to a Vibrant Life with Vicki Washington. Vicki and her guests will share their journey of the golden years and how they're creating a vibrant life. Topics will include family, fun, life, love, travel, and everything Boomer. You too can have the best of your vibrant life now. We are broadcasting from Global Voice Radio every week, and now here's your host, Vicki Washburn.
Hello, this is the Boomer's Guide to a Vibrant Life. I am Vicki Washburn, your host, and today I just want to talk with you a little bit about something that I think affects us all. It's that story that we tell ourselves. It's that story of, it's usually negative thoughts that we have. It's a negative spin that we put on our life. It's that self-talk that we tell ourselves that can many times make us feel shame, guilt, anger, anxiety, panic attacks. It's just amazing. I have had conversations with two of my girlfriends recently, and the thing that just really struck me with both of them was the amount of panic attacks and the amount of anxiety attacks that they were having. So I had a little conversation with them about what was really going on and what was going on in their head. And one of them was telling me that she was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, feeling like she was having a heart attack. And, trying to take deep breaths and just breathe her way through it. And she did eventually. But I asked her, what was it that she was thinking about at the time that she felt this? She said, well, I was just sleeping. I wasn't thinking about anything. So we talked a little bit more, and I said, have you had these before? Well, yeah, 7 or 8 times. So we talked about what it is that she felt like was bringing these panic attacks on. And if there was any kind of a common thread that she could see happening each time that she'd had a panic attack. And after a little bit of talking, we realized that it went back to a story that she is telling herself. I have another friend, and she has suffered some pretty traumatic things in the last few years. But the saddest part about what has happened is the fact that she continues to relive them every day, all day. She has this story that she has let get embedded in her heart, and she speaks it, she thinks it, she puts it out there in the universe every day, many times all day. And she's just really struggling to let go of the trauma. And I know that part of letting go of the trauma that we all suffer from time to time is verbalizing it. You have to verbalize it. But then you don't want to keep verbalizing the same story over and over and over and over and over again. Because what you do when you do that is you give that story power. You give it the power to shut you down. You give it the power to cut you off. You give it the power to take your voice away. The only voice that you have is to repeat what happened in the trauma. And it's almost as if the trauma is happening to you all over again. So the key is to, yes, verbalize it. Yes, get it out there in the open. Yes, pull it out of the shadows. But then you have to be willing to let it go. I tell my clients, you've got to lay it at the feet of Jesus. You've got to lay it at the cross. You've got to let it go. You know, I've been reading a lot of books on the law of attraction, and on doing vision boards, and on conscious conversations. And I went to a convention with a company that I'm involved in, and one of the sessions that I attended was a talk by a woman named, give me a minute. Well, doesn't matter. It's not coming to me right at the moment. But she did a talk on conscious conversations and on being conscious of our words. So an example that she used, and this goes along with the story that we tell ourselves, is if you say, somebody tells you a joke, you know, you see people do this all the time, and they'll slap their leg and go, "You're killing me." Or somebody will say, "I'm killing it." Well, you know, you've just put out in the universe your own death. You know, we don't want to speak that. My mother was married to a man who was not a very nice man. The saddest thing about his life was that he could not speak a full sentence without taking the Lord's name in vain or cussing and being very vulgar and rude. And we used to tell my mother that he was cursing their home every time he opened his mouth because he could not begin or end a sentence without damning God. Now, whether you believe in God or not, the point here is, in his mind and in his heart, he was damning something. He was angry. He was violent. He was volatile. And it came through in his language. And the more he spoke it, the more he fed it. So the more violent he would become, the more volatile he would become, and the more difficult he was to be around. So when we tell ourselves these stories, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, you're feeding that into your soul. You know, in the Bible, God says, I am that I am. Anything that follows those two words, I am, are powerful words. So you need to be very conscious of how you say things. You know, you can tweak it just a tad and make the same point, but not be negative. You know, there's a big difference in saying, that made me feel stupid, and saying, I am stupid. Now, I don't believe for a minute that I'm stupid. I'm a very smart person, but sometimes I feel stupid. Sometimes I do things that are kind of stupid. That doesn't mean that I am stupid. So you should always be careful with following the words I am with something that's negative. If you're going to speak those words, speak them positively. I am smart. I am kind. I am love. I am peaceful. I am helpful. I am generous. I am beautiful. I am generous. I might have said that one twice. It's important to me to be generous. I am a hard worker. I am faithful. I am a person of integrity. I am conscious. I am a believer. All of those things are positive things that you can speak into your being. And if you speak them into your being every day, you will start to shift from that mindset of not being enough, not being smart enough, or kind enough, or pretty enough, or generous enough. You will start to see yourself the way God sees you. You know, God does not see us as this mass of sin walking around in bodies. I don't believe he sees us that way. I believe he sees us as his children, just as we see our own children. We would defend our children to the ends of the earth. We love our children. They can do no wrong. Sometimes when they do wrong, you still are able to have a conversation with them about that and love them. So most of us have this thing, this tape playing in our head that really goes back to something that happened to us when we were very young. And that thing that happened that we probably don't even remember causes a tape to run in our head. And sometimes you have to do some pretty serious work to figure out where that tape started. What was the trigger that caused this thought to be embedded in your soul, in your cells, and to play over and over and over again? What was that thing that happened? Once you figure out what that thing was, then you can release it. But it takes some serious work sometimes to find out what that thing was. And sometimes it can be very painful trying to uncover it. That's why we hide it. We bury it deep. Our body buries it deep. Our ego buries it deep. But in uncovering it and bringing it to light and bringing it to the surface, then we can let it go and we can start telling ourselves a new thing. We can start respecting ourselves. We can start seeing ourselves for the creature that God created us to be. Now, I know as we get older, I see this so many times in my mother's generation. And I hope that we will be a little better than her generation was. And I hope those coming after us will be better than we are. But I see so many times, life gets to be kind of boring. And so their day will consist of reading the obituary, talking about so-and-so's newest ailment or newest surgery or newest hip replacement. And that's their life. That's the only conversations they have. That's the only things they speak out. Now, if all you're thinking about is people dying and being sick, then what do you think that's calling into your own life? What do you think your body thinks about that? You have to change your focus off of the negative. You have to take your focus off of the hurt or the pain or the loneliness. One of the things I absolutely love about being part of Live in Gratitude Daily is that it can change your perception about what is going on in your life. If you do a gratitude ritual every day, I don't like the word ritual, but if you set yourself up to do a daily gratitude journal, if you just take the time to write down the things that you're grateful for every morning when you start your day, or every night right before you go to sleep, it can shift your life so incredibly. It's especially powerful if you do it at night, because those are the last thoughts that you have before you go to sleep. So those thoughts are mulling around when your brain is completely quiet. And that's when the greatest manifestation happens. Try it. I challenge you. Take some time every day and write down the things you're grateful for. Do it for a month. See what shifts. Another big thing is judgment. I see this so strong everywhere these days. I'm listening to Gabrielle Bernstein. I'm listening to her book called Judgment Detox. And it is such a powerful, powerful book because she is so spot on that we all judge others because of some fear that we have in our own selves. We judge others for something that we deep down believe is a flaw in ourselves. And until we forgive ourselves and let go of the judgment of ourselves, we're going to continue to judge others. And that is not what God has called us to do. He did not call us to judge. He called us to love. To not only love others, but to love ourselves. And when we're talking negative things to ourselves, when we're berating ourselves for something we did or we didn't do, or something that happened 10 years ago that upset us, we are not loving ourselves. We have to find a way in this day and this age to come together. It really does not matter whether we are white or black, Republican or Democrat, male or female, married or single, heterosexual or not heterosexual. None of that matters. We're all connected. We are all one. We are the human race. We have to find a way to quit judging others. There is no others. It saddens me so much to see people talk so poorly of immigrants. Now, I understand from a political standpoint that it's difficult for a country to take in a very large number of immigrants or refugees. But if we were truly following God, truly following Christ, we would take in every single one we could. And we would keep taking them in. And we would trust that God would provide us with the resources to be able to serve those people and care for them. Because after all, they are just mothers, and they are just fathers, and they are just children, just like I am a mother, and just like you are a father, and just like we have children. They just want the best for theirs as well as we do. They are really no different than us. There is no us. There is no them. There is only we. We are the human race. And we need to heal ourselves, heal our hearts, so that we can help each other. There are so many things, so many ways that you can catch your thoughts and retrain them. When I went to the convention and was listening to the talk, one of the things that she mentioned, which really kind of took me back, besides the "you're killing me" statement, was she used an example of growing up listening to the song "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." Now stop and think, if you listen to that song every day, all day, week in and week out, do you think that somewhere in your psyche there wouldn't be a seed planted that would grow, that would keep you from ever being satisfied? We see it happen with people all the time. Abusers brainwash those they are abusing by telling them things all the time, innocently at first, jokingly at first, out of anger maybe. You're stupid. That was stupid. Why do you do such stupid shit? Sorry, I try not to cuss. But those are the things that people tell other people to gain control of them. And after a while, you start telling yourself that. I'm stupid. Why do I do such stupid stuff? You have to change that thought pattern. I saw on a page the other day where there was a discussion about millennials by a group of older individuals. And there was a lot of negative things said. And I think part of that comes from the media latching on to a very small group, really, in the scheme of things, and highlighting some of their not so, I don't want to say relevant, because they're obviously relevant to them, but maybe not so well thought out positions. And because they're younger and they're millennials, and then they have judged that all millennials are like that. I personally don't agree. I know a lot of millennials that are very smart, kind, hardworking young people who are just trying to find their way in the world, just like we did in the 60s or the 70s. Good Lord, look what was going on when we were kids. Kids were running away to Haight-Ashbury and Greenwich Village and living in communes and growing their hair down to the middle of their back and doing drugs and protesting, and the older generation judged us. And here we are doing the same thing. That's crazy. See, I just did it. I judged it. It is not healthy for us to do that. What is healthy is to recognize that they are a stage in their life where they are trying to find themselves. They're trying to find what they believe. They're trying to figure out their place in this world. And will they make mistakes? Of course they will. They're young adults. They're just getting on their own. Does that make them bad or lazy or disrespectful? Or there may be individual cases where, yes, it might make them that. They might be that. But that's not the case across a whole generation. That's just judgment. Just like they probably judge that old people are just senile and not very useful. So we have to find ways to talk to ourselves more kindly. Lift ourselves up. Really, when we're talking to ourselves in such a negative voice, we're really sinning against God. Because He created us. And He said that we are wonderfully and wondrously made. And He said that we should look at our bodies as our temple. Well, I don't think it matters if your temple's 500 pounds or 50 pounds. God still wants you to look at it as your temple. I used to tell my kids all the time that, I've got a couple of sons that are old enough that they were right in the beginning of the rap movement. And much of what they listened to was pretty derogatory against all people, but especially against women. And I used to just scold them and tell them that what they're allowing to be fed into them will affect them. The same thing goes with your self-talk. What you allow to be fed into you will affect you. Don't speak death over your life. Speak life over your life. I am healthy. I am vibrant. I am useful. I am love. I am the best Nana. I love my children. I am good at my job. I am good at retirement. I am healthy, wealthy, wise. What kind of things are you speaking to yourself that keeps you in that loop, that may be causing you to have panic attacks, that may be causing you to have anxiety attacks? What is that story that is so embedded that you speak about it every day? Go on to my Facebook page, My Life Redesigned. Tell me what it is. What is that story Let's bring that story out. Let's get it in the light, then let's let it go. Make a post on there below this show. Tell me what it is that you've been telling yourself that you're ready to let go of, that you feel will help your life to be lighter and freer and full of more joy. Go on and leave me a comment. Also, I challenge you this month. February 1st is coming up soon, so we'll even pick a short month. And write what you're grateful for, either every morning or every night. Start writing, just free write. Write what comes to you. You'll find by a weekend, I'm guessing, that you will be writing so much that you'll have to make yourself stop just to go to bed. And do that for 28 days in February. Is this a long February? I don't know. Anyway, we'll do it for all of the month of February. If you want, go on to My Life Redesigned and tell us how it's shifting in your life. Be conscious of your thoughts. Be conscious of your words. Be especially conscious when you're speaking to children, because the words that you speak go into them and embed in their hearts and can start a negative thought process that will affect them for the rest of their life. Speak life, not death. I appreciate you spending time with me tonight. I appreciate you listening to my ramblings. Thank you for tuning in to the Boomer's Guide to a Vibrant Life. Follow me at My Life Redesigned on Facebook and Instagram. And I think it's the same on Twitter. I need to check that. I hope you all have a beautiful week. Go live in gratitude. Write a new story and make it be a joyous story. God bless.
Host of The Boomer's Guide to a Vibrant Life. Connect with Vicki at www.globalvoiceradio.com. Tune in next week for another edition of The Boomer's Guide to a Vibrant Life on Global Voice Radio, where your message and your voices are heard.